Okay, let me make sure I'm online. Okay, hello, I'm Alex from A.P. Inc. So today I'm going to be picking up where I left off last time, which I've slowly been working through creating band logos for awards. Excuse me. So, like gold and platinum awards. So I'm going to give you both of those references for the gold and platinum awards. And then for the logo that I'm currently working on for two of the like stickers for the awards, that would be TLC. So I've got the same reference here. So I'm just gonna continue here where I left off. On this logo I had created the upper and lower like bands that would sit on top of and below the band logo. Okay, so this is a 1/4 of an inch centered on the construction line that I've got going here. But I've got it like a 1/16 of an inch above and below. So I'm going to put those marks here. So centering the marks or lines, whatever. And this is really going to be pushing for space. It'll go up a 1/16 of an inch on either side. So a 1/4 of an inch wide by a 1/16 of an inch high. Okay, and then just gold and platinum underneath. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and try to finish spice here with girls underneath the same way I've got it here. I'm jumping ahead here, but yeah. So golden, and then platinum. Let me do that again. The T and the I should kind of be split by the construction net line. The L doesn't belong in that position. Okay, so T I and then A L P. Okay. I'm just trying to figure, because of the color transition here, if I should go in with a black fine liner or go in with a blue fine liner. The blue fine liner that I do have is a 05, which is going to be a bit thicker than I need to go here for trying to create like a transition. So maybe a 0.2 black fine liner, but to create the color transition, if I should just stick with white, or if I should go get like a blue colored pencil to try to create that transition. Let me get the line art done and I'll see how it looks and then decide about the color transition. For what I remember when I was looking up TLC logos from last time, I think they may have changed up their logo per album release. I might be 100% off on that, but just that I think I saw a couple of different interpretations from TLC for their logo. That T is kind of rough. I'm gonna give it a minute to dry, and then I'll erase the pencil, and I'll try to clean up around the T with a white gel pen. Okay. So I think to switch back to to Spice Girls, I'm gonna try to lay out Spice Girls, Spice here and then Girls here to try to get it to match this one. So you can have the same reference if you'd like. Keep it big enough so maybe you can see the girls under the E. So I, and then to put the spaces between the letters. So there's like a 1/16 of an inch space between each of the letters. And then very roughly, I think the P is 1/8 of an inch. And then another 1/16 of an inch, and then the S will fit in there. Okay. And then same on this side for the C and the E. It goes over a bit, but to try to fit the C and the E within a 1/8 of an inch. Okay. And then for the split for the upper half of the P and the split in the S and the E to kind of split this in half. So it's less than half an inch. So I'm just eyeballing this because I don't remember for last time the exact breakdown of how I measured this out. If I actually did the ink kind of bled out a little bit, but we can see, I guess the space is about 1/16 of an inch. I kind of eyeballed it pretty good for 1/16 of an inch for the space on the P. Okay, spice. And then girls is about 1/4 of an inch with a 1/16 of an inch space between the center circle and the word. But that is about 3/4 of an inch, I think. Okay, and then the G, the R, the L, and the S are 1/8 of an inch wide. With a 1/16 of an inch space between. Trying to center the R on the center line, construction line here. I might have to give myself a full inch because this is not going to be enough room to measure this out. There's the R, the L. So R space L space. I'm going to run out of room for the S. So let me give myself the full inch. And we'll hope that it looks similar enough to the first one. So L space S L space S. And then R space I. But because I is such a small letter, I'm gonna put in like the center mark for where the I should be written. So it might be kind of confusing, but R space here, and then I'm gonna, with the fine liner, write the I over the line here, space, and then G. Okay, this might not be 100% centered over platinum. But as aesthetic as that would actually look, to have the girls centered over platinum, I want to have I was just comparing this to this. I might not have it 100% centered at all. Maybe I've got it spread out too much, I'm not sure. Because the way I've got it here, the end or back of the G, whatever, is potentially kind of lined up, excuse me, lined up with the center of the S. And the same with the S here is kind of lined up with the center of the E. But here, if my ruler is straight, I don't know, that might line up, but the S isn't necessarily centered with the E. But here, we're not going for bubble letters. Let me actually make sure I've got this centered. So, 1/4 of an inch. So center would be 1/8 of an inch. Okay, G, I, I'm confusing myself. There's too many lines. G, space, I, space. I think there's too many lines here. R space I. There's too many lines here. This should be the R. L. S. I don't understand what I did here. I'm not sure what I did here. R space. I guess I is here then? Why is this I might be more tired than I thought I was. Maybe this doesn't make any sense to anybody. I am dyslexic and all of these tiny lines, they're too close. And when you're, I don't know, I swear there's varying levels of dyslexia. And sometimes mine just goes out of whack. Okay, so I think we'll start with the spicy because I'm still not sure about this girls down here. So it doesn't match the reference, but I have to use the colors that I actually have. And then green for the P and the C. And then red for the E. R L S I G. Okay, I'll give that a minute to dry. and then erase the pencil. This should be good and dry. Switching the reference back to TLC. Excuse me. Just to see how it might look, I'm gonna go and get some colored pencils. I'll be right back. I'm kind of torn between like dark blue and violet. It's more of a blue color, but let's try dark blue. So I'm not going right on. I just want to see if I can create the same kind of gradient. don't know. I think it might actually have a bit more of a purple hue to it. Like, if you actually look at it, there is kind of a blue hue to it, but it's darker, I think, than the dark blue. I'm probably gonna go with the dark blue, because it's clearly, I think it's clearly a blue tone more than a purple, but okay. I think before I do that, to actually try to fix where I messed up the T here, I could digitally edit this, but I'm not gonna print these out. I'm not gonna digitize them, clean them up, and print them out. I'm gonna cut them out and put them on the blanks that I've got. Okay, while I let that dry, I'm gonna erase the pencil here and we'll see how this, if it looks at least semi-similar to this first one. That one just looked kind of muddy. Okay, so kind of intensifying the blue on the outer edges and trying to make it transition to the white towards the center. But I'm gonna sharpen this really quick. So there's a soft gradient. Maybe it's just that the dark blue I have here isn't quite as, I don't know, it's a different tone. Okay, so not 100% for the reference, but I tried. I think it kind of gets the point across. Okay, I think I might have time for one more. Fortunately, I just messed my camera up. The only way to fix it is to shut the stream down and come back, so I will be right back. Okay, let me make sure I'm online. Okay, so I'm just trying to decide what one I want to do next. I've already done Britney Spears, Destiny's Child, Queen, TLC, Kiss, Spice Girls. Yeah, I got two left. Let's try this one. So let me get you the same reference. So it's kind of a mask with a J hook. Kind of a M J hook with like a mask kind of element to it. I shouldn't have erased the cross the construction lines that I had here when I was trying to center the circle, because I've used them in all of these except maybe the first one. Okay, so right off, before I even get to the actual logo, I'm going to try to mark out for the golden and platinum. So measuring up a fourth of an inch. No, an eighth of an inch. And then from there, I think, yeah, it's an eighth of an inch up. to mark up for the platinum and the gold. Platinum. Golden. That was the easy part. It would be nice if I could get the entire logo visible on here. Let me just see if I can find an example of this logo. Okay, so that reference, that logo is actually Michael Jackson. So I just want to see examples of Michael Jackson music awards. Okay. I mean, this isn't necessarily going to help because they tend to do these awards either for a single on an album or for the entire album. But I think generally it's the single. So I'm really kind of just making this up. Like this is for Billie Jean. Yeah, so this actually says Epic, which is the music company he was signed to at the time. So Epic. So I don't know if it's really going to be legible, but to try to actually fit that logo between the top and the center circle. So there's about 3/4 of an inch between the top of the sticker and the top of the center circle. But to try to keep it from going over either of these points, so to measure down, I think 1/16 of an inch, measure down and measure up. I don't think this is quite right, but I'm going to give myself an inch. So that's actually about a 1/4 inch on either side of that center construction line. So I'm going to do the same measuring for this one. So this whole space ends up being a 1/2 inch. So there might be an issue with legibility, but to try to find the center point of the height here so that I have room for the M on the top half and the kind of tail J down here so the whole logo fits. This is more than 1/2 inch. I think that's half. That doesn't look right. Sorry. See, this isn't right. my measurements are clearly off for placement, but this one looks taller than this one. Okay, that might be better. Okay, this probably isn't going to make too much of a difference, but to sharpen my pencil for finer details. So to try to create like a mirror image, there's clear separation between the sides. So I think I need to measure for that. I'm just trying to create the opening here and here. try to find the center for the upper half. For this cutout. Because of the scale I'm working at, I'm sure I'm not going to be able to get this 100%, but I am trying. I mean, aside from the fact that I wanted to try to somehow fit the entire M shape here to fit the J hook here, which is not what I'm doing here. This would actually work pretty good with like a brush pen or a calligraphy pen, but I have to work a lot bigger than this, which I don't know if maybe that's what I should actually try to do here. To enlarge the shape as a whole and try to get the center circle. Like if I enlarge the shape to try to get the this circle about here, if that would actually be possible. Again, I want this to be legible, so I think going bigger is the way to go instead of trying to fit it between that space. Okay, let's see. If there was no hole here, this is an inch. And then from here down, it's like it's like 3/4 of an inch. Okay. If I should still try to fit this in an inch wide space, which means that's how big this space would be. But I think to measure down eighth of an inch, just so I don't bump the top. Hopefully. But doing it at this scale, I think to still try to fit the M here and then bring the hook down here, which that might be better. But I think yeah, okay, so measuring from here down, this is an inch, but measuring from here down is not an inch, because I've deducted eighth of an inch. So to try to find the center for this space, so I can try to start marking up for the mirror image. And then for this cutout, to try to find the center here. Okay, wait. Trying to figure for where this line should come to, and I think towards the center here. Oh, I need to figure for filling this entire space, not just up here for the M. I don't know what I'm thinking. Okay. Unfortunately, I have run out of time for this. So I will have to try to finish this up next time. Thank you to anybody who watched or watches. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.